Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and this is the brand new Jakks Pacific 4-inch Sonic Forms pack. This set was an absolute surprise. We knew that we were getting a Soap Shoe Sonic in the next wave, but we were all hoping for a Werehog, but now we finally got one. And of course, another release of a Supersonic is always welcome here. And I will be comparing this to some other figures, like I have a couple of the Jazwares Werehogs in both 5 and a 3-inch. I have a 3-inch Supersonic to compare it to, I guess. I also have the Joyride Sonic and a couple other figures, I guess, to compare it all to. So this is going to be fun. If you want to get one yourself, there will be a link down below on where you can order this guy. But let's take a look at the box real quick. So of course we have a good window display showing off Supersonic, the Werehog, as well as Soap Shoe Sonic. Then you got the Sonic Forms pack in different languages. You got the classic packaging you got right here. Then the side shows them in different poses. Then the other side shows just a simple render. And then the back shows more detail saying how the Supersonic, Werehog, and Sonic with grind shoes. Right, because it's not soap shoes, it's grind shoes. I love how they always get named differently, whether it be Sonic Adventure 2 shoes, or grind shoes, or speed shoes, or whatever they want to call it. I don't know. Point is, it's not soap. And then it talks about the one wave where it shows a classic Sonic, a Fang, Mecha Sonic, as well as Dr. Eggman. Which, I have a small confession. I typically don't collect the 4-inch Jakks figures. I have mostly a Jazwares collection, and I'm very proud of that. However, Jakks is releasing a lot of good stuff. I think I might start collecting. I don't know where I'll put them, but I do want to get them. I guess we'll figure it out over time. But until we get into that, let's take a look at this box. Let's open it up and see what the figures look like actually in person. But yeah, like I said, I did get some Jakks figures over the years. Like, I got the Chaos, I got Omega, pretty much some of the essentials that Jazwares didn't make. However, even though I'm probably late to the party, I think the journey of trying to find all these is going to be even more fun now that I have a lot of characters to get. But when I saw this, I knew I had to get this, because it's been so long since we've gotten an official, like, Soap Shoe Sonic figure, as well as we haven't had an official Werehog figure since, what, 08, 09? But man, let's get these guys out of here. We gotta cut these things. These things are always no fun. If you have any like nippers from like model kits, I would definitely recommend getting those to extract these out instead of an X-Acto knife. But I'm just too lazy to get my little nippers. But what you gonna do? Let me know in the comments, what other forms of Sonic would you like to see in the future as different packs or just as standalone releases? Because I would love for them to make like 2 packs, whether it be like the storybook one, so it'll be like one pack being like Sonic and the Secret Rings, so it's like regular him with the ring, as well as the what's it called, the Dark Spine Sonic, or maybe even one with the Black Knight where it shows him with Excalibur as well as him in the Excalibur mode. Because when Jazwares made them, they were so cool looking. Unfortunately, I never got them because I never played those games. I didn't really care that much, but hindsight being 2020, man, they're so cool. Can we finally safely get these out? Because that's always the fun part of getting these figures out, is getting them out of these plastic prisons. There we go. We got Supersonic out. Okay, next up, let's get the Werehog out. Ooh, yeah. And then the Soap Shoes Sonic. I have a feeling that even though this is going to be like a mostly common figure because they always stack way too many Sonics in a Target or Walmart, this one's actually going to sell because it's one that people actually want. But now this pack's out, the standalone version barely stands a chance. But Tito the OG pointed this out, and I do love seeing it in person, but like seeing like how the middle one for the Werehog is like all in like night and stars, and the other ones are just like normal blue, and like one's like has like extra effects around it for Supersonic. It's so cool. I love that. I think we should start off with the star of the show being the Werehog figure. He looks like he gotta rearrange his legs a little bit, like now that he's out of the package. But man, this is so cool to see, because I've had the Werehog figure like since the Jazwares days. I had a couple of the 5-inch ones that both broke, and this one behind me I bought on eBay for a stupid amount of money. But when I first saw him in the box, I was like, he's so tiny compared to the 5-inch one. It's so funny. I'm so used to the head being so big and everything, but this looks phenomenal. I love this. And I love how he has the ankles just like the movie 5-inch figures, so it makes posing him so much easier. It might bother some people that it has that giant ball hinge right there to like kind of add bulk to it and look a little bit ugly, but honestly, I don't care. I'm just happy this is an actual figure now. And I love how we got not only an elbow joint right here, but you can also do a bicep swivel, so you can pose that however you want. And then we got a swivel on the wrists as well. Part of me wishes that we got like premium versions of these figures, so you can swap it out with like fists and other stuff like that. But again, I'm just so happy that we finally got this. Like, look at like these quills right here. Like, I love the little frosted tips. And it's also really nice to have a bigger Werehog figure that can actually kick forward. You know, when it's not stuck because it's being fresh out of the box. Like, being able to finally pose this any way you need to. Oh my goodness, I love this. But here's a closer look at him if you really want to see like the fine details out of this. Like, it looks so good. They did such a good job with all the paint and everything. I don't see many paint errors on this guy. Like, this is a product that I'm very happy didn't leak early, so we get to see just a wild surprise. I didn't think we would ever get another Werehog figure, ever, honestly. But now that I have him in person, it's so cool. But part of me thinks that the Werehog should be a little bit bigger. I always thought he was. I thought he was always bigger than a normal Sonic. But let's get him back to a normal pose. And I want to compare him to some of the normal, like 4-inch Jakks Sonics that are not soap shoes. Like some like normal actual releases. So here he is next to a normal Sonic. And honestly, seeing them next to each other, that is actually what I expected when it comes to the scale to each other. So you know what? Good job! I like this! When it comes to scaling, this is exactly what I expected out of like Sonic versus the Werehog. And I would love for them to remake Sonic Unleashed, but make the metal hunting so much easier, please. Like, I love how the PS2 and Wii version did it, where it was just more like achievements rather than collectibles you gotta find as you're speeding through a level to unlock more levels. That's the main reason why I never beat the HD version. I beat the PS2 version, but never the PS3 version or the Xbox one. But man, seeing this, it makes me so happy. But how does he look compared to the other figures? First, let's take a look at him compared to the Jazwares 3-inch version. With the Jazwares one, you see how the chest is a lot more puffed out. And that's kind of what I expected out of here. And the color tones are completely different. And to be honest, I kind of like the color tone of the older version more. But this still looks great on its own. I'd still be very happy with this. But seeing them side by side, it's like, man, I wish they would have went with this one. I've had this one since childhood. And by that, I mean high school. So you can see how the joints are starting to fall apart, unfortunately. Is there a way to fix that? I'm not sure. I never figured out a way to do that. But anyway, looking at these side by side, man, the articulation is actually pretty much the same except for the wrists. I love how it's like pretty much come full circle. This is actually pretty cool. I love this. This is pretty sick. But the real comparison that everybody wants to see is the 5-inch one versus the 4-inch one. There are some details on the 5-inch figure that I do prefer, like when it comes to the fur texture, like the frosted tips, how they kind of fade into it instead of being hard sculpted. And I love how the hands and even like the arm hair around his knuckles also look on this figure. And even though I'm very nostalgic for the Jazwares version, the 4-inch one definitely nails the look a whole lot more when it comes to how the eyes look, how the shoes are actually spiked on top instead of rounded like on the 5-inch. And I like how the spikes on the bottom of his shoes are actually painted like spikes instead of just being molded. And again, the biggest advantage to this one is the fact that he can actually kick his leg forward if he needs to and make it look like he's actually running, while this one, his legs can only go side to side. Like, this one is a good shelf piece. Like, this is a fine looking figure. However, this is a much better figure to actually like play with and, I don't know, just do whatever you need to with. Well, I'll always keep this in my collection. I always will love the look of this one because I remember when I got this at Toys R Us when I was younger. But man, I can't help but love this Jakks Pacific one. Like, Jakks has been killing it lately. Like, I feel like if you're gonna go for, quote, the best Werehog figure, the Jakks one is probably it. And when it comes to the actual color of his fur, even though I do like the Jazwares one so much more because of nostalgia blindness, they did pretty much nail it on the Jakks 4-inch figure. So if you could only have one Werehog figure, go for the Jakks. This is such a solid release. I love this. So we're gonna put you back here, buddy. And I guess we'll pose him and put him over here while we look at all the figures. The next one I'm really excited for is this Soap Shoes Sonic. First up, we gotta rearrange the legs a little bit. But for some reason, my figure feels really loose. I mean, thankfully they're gonna be releasing him by himself, so if I really need another one, I can just grab another one. But like, the main thing I don't like about the Jakks figures, at least with Sonic, I've been through a couple of them where they just get loose over time. And from what I'm told, he doesn't really stand up on his own by himself all that much. Especially if your figure ends up having loose joints, yeah, this thing has no chance. But seeing official Soap Shoes for the first time in, how many years has it been? Over 20 years? Ugh. With the standard that I have from Jakks Pacific, I think they nailed it. Like, all the paint details, including the bottom of the shoes. I didn't expect them to go to these great lengths with the bottom of the shoes. Of course, it being a $10 figure, it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but I'm really impressed. Like, this is what I would expect. Actually, this is more than what I expected for a 4-inch Jakks Pacific Soap Shoes Sonic. I kind of wish they would have changed out the smile so it's like the Nike grin, because that absolutely screams Sonic Adventure 2. But this just more screams, I don't know, Sonic Frontiers DLC, but with longer quills. Of course, like, you're gonna see some imperfections. Like, you're gonna see like some red strips sometimes. Each figure is gonna vary depending on which one you get. So I would say if you could find this in person and like actually like see this and like try to compare all of them, try to find the best one, definitely do that. I got this one through my buddy Ray. So shout out to my buddy Ray for finding me this while I was at work. But again, I am so impressed with how these shoes look. These look incredible. Oh yeah, here's a closer look at it if you really want to see it. I hope I can get him to stand up well. But man, I love the way this figure looks. This looks absolutely phenomenal. Now let's compare him to a goofy looking Sonic. Honestly, I do like the little smile they're doing here. They could have did something like that. But I don't like the way this face is shaped. I don't like the way his eyes look. It's hard to tell in person like if it's like just the way the eyes are painted or what it is. Because I feel like shape-wise, they're mostly the same. But, like, this face just looks so off compared to this. If we could have gotten this grin, but, you know, on the other side, like, I would have loved that to be, like, the perfect Sonic Adventure 2 Sonic. But when it comes to, like, filling in your need of having a Sonic Adventure 2 figure, this can do the job just fine. Like, I can already imagine being a kid and, like, grinding this on rails or whatever. Like, I would have killed for this figure as a kid. In fact, when I was a kid, the Soap Shoes one was the one that was available, but I couldn't even find that in the wild, and I would have destroyed the thing as a kid, so I'm happy I got it later as an adult. But speaking of, let's compare the two. As you can tell, the shoes look completely different to each other, but they each go for their own look. I love the Joyride figures so much, and I feel like if you're going to go for a Sonic Adventure 2 figure, you might want to go for either the Jakks Pacific one or get a Tito the OG custom, especially since you can get like a brand new head and everything for it, especially if you can actually like recreate this figure itself. But this one I did get like early adulthood for relatively cheap. I got them for probably anywhere from 30 to 60 bucks, and I knew I was never gonna find it that cheap again, so I pulled the trigger on it, and I'm very happy I did. But now I want a shadow figure. But like with this one, like it is missing the details on the bottom that like you would see on this one. So standards have definitely changed over the years, and I'm very happy that we've gotten a much better standard now with these figures, especially for this thing only being $10. I have a feeling that over the years, this one can go up in value, so if anything, you might want to grab a Soap Shoes Jakks Sonic by itself in the box, or buy his 3-pack and keep it in the box. I just realized I managed to make him stand up by himself, but this desk is uneven though, so I got lucky. Now, even though I do love my Joyride more because of nostalgia reasons and all that stuff, the Jakks Pacific figure is a good one, but this one screams its era, while this is just a Sonic with different shoes. I'm grateful to have this figure, don't get me wrong, but having a proper Sonic Adventure 2 Sonic would be sick, as well as a Sonic Adventure 1 Sonic. Can we get that? Can we get him like all upgraded out, which Can we get that for this too? That'd be pretty cool. So good job, Jakks. You did it. I guess we'll put you right there. Again, I'm impressed he's standing up. Good job. But the last one of the bunch, the one that is probably the least exciting out of all of them because we've already seen this figure a couple of times in the past, the Supersonic. But this is my first 4-inch Supersonic. I've seen him in the wild a couple of times. However, again, like I said earlier, I typically don't really collect Jakks 4-inch figures, but I kind of want to start doing it now. And we got a long journey ahead of us, so that's going to be fun. Which, speaking of, let me know in the comments. Should I open a P.O. box so viewers can send in figures if they find them? I don't know. P.O. boxes are a little expensive. I ain't going to worry about it. But anyway, Supersonic! I've owned some Supersonic figures in the past. Mainly this Jazwares one from the 3-inch line. And I absolutely love this set. Like, I love the 3-pack that they came out with back then. Like, it's still one of my favorite pieces in my whole collection. It was a very special day when I got them. I hunted them for a while, and I finally got it, and I was so excited. Which, by the way, I may or may not do a video showing off the Jazwares figures eventually. I finally have an idea on how I want to do it, and I think it'll be really fun. So when I have more time, I'm going to definitely do that. Now, even though I do love the look of the Jazwares one so much, because look at them, it's so iconic. And I do have the 5-inch one from Sonic Generations, but that one's hiding in the basement somewhere, and I didn't feel like digging for that, because I think it's filthy. I gotta really clean that thing. But I absolutely love the look of the 4-inch ones so much. I'll still prefer the Jazwares one over Nostalgia, because I just grew up with that one for the most part. That was my first Supersonic figure I ever had, so I have a bias. But Jakks Pacific has done such a good job with these figures. I'm not a huge fan of their Super Shadow. I wish it had a better color tone. And why is his head so loose? I don't know. But if I want a Supersonic action figure, like, this is what I would expect. This looks fantastic. And if you really want to, I've seen Tito the OG do it. You can swap out the soap shoes for this one. And I think the only other Sonic figure I have to compare this one to is this one with an angry face. I personally like the look of the Sonic a good bit. I'm not sure how other people feel about it, but I think it's pretty cool. And I like the fact that he's actually frowning on this one. Because with the movie Supersonic, that one's smiling, and at first I didn't like that. But then I saw Sonic Movie 3 and it made a lot more sense. But this is a good Supersonic figure. I love this. In fact, I want to get the rest of them now. I don't know where I'm going to put them. But one day. One day. Which, by the way, here's a picture of the collection. So you can see what I'm looking at and see the panic in my eyes. In all reality, there are ways for me to do it. I got to get another bookcase and offload some things somewhere else. But I can make it work if I really want to. And I also really want to collect the Sonic IDW comics. I have no space for those, but man, I love the stories that they've made so far. I have a few of them because they were just gifted to me. And from what I've read, I love them so much. I love, like, stories outside of the video games for Sonic. It makes me love the characters and the franchise so much more. But that's all I really gotta show off when it comes to this. Like, again, huge thank you to my friend Ray for finding me this in the wild. And we may have started a new addiction. In fact, maybe 2 of them. And I guess here they all are all next to each other. This looks great. Before I get to the end of it, I did want to mention, I do love the fact on how good these soap shoes look without needing outline work like Tito the OG used to do. Which, by the way, he did make me soap shoes for my Sonic Nendoroid. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love the shoes he made me for my Nendoroid. But hey, Tito, if you're watching this, can you make me a new set of Nendoroid shoes with your new mold that you made without the lines? Because I'm very curious on how they would look. But again, I'm so thankful to have this. I'm happy like that this is a thing now. This is so awesome. But thank you for watching the video. So if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. In the description, there's going to be my social media as well as places where you can order this guy. And by that, it's just Target. Go to Target. But thank you guys for watching. I love you guys to death. And I guess I'll see you on the next one. So peace, peace. Which also, by the way, if I find more figures in the wild, do I just open them all at once for a video or make a review on each figure? I don't know what I want to do with that yet. Maybe I'll do a hunting series. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I gotta go. Bye.